Welcome back to Power in the Pause. I'm your host, Chelsea, and this is the space where we slow down, breathe for a second, and remember that sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is pause. And today, sis, we're talking about something that a lot of women are thinking about, but not always saying out loud. And that's the pressure to be skinny in a GLP-1 saturated world. The pressure to look smaller, to take up less space, to fix yourself, to compare your body to women online, wondering if everyone else found some type of shortcut that you just missed. And before we start, I want to make something clear. This episode is not anti weight loss. It's not anti medication, and it's not about shaming women for their choices they make for their bodies. Because go off, sis. This is about the psychology behind what happens when an entire culture becomes obsessed with shrinking. Because whether or not we admit it, we are living in a moment where thinness is once again being marketed as femininity, success, desirability, discipline, and worth. And that can do something to a woman psychologically, especially if she already struggles with comparison, perfectionism, insecurity, or never feeling good enough. I think a lot of women believe that we were finally moving towards body acceptance. We started hearing, love yourself, honor your body, strong is beautiful. Bodies come in all shapes and sizes. And for a moment, it felt like maybe women could finally exhale. But then came the resurgence of extreme thinness culture, just rebranded. Now it's wellness, clean girl aesthetic, Pilates body, discipline, optimization, high value, lean. And GLP-1 medications became part of the conversation in a massive way. Suddenly, everyone looks smaller. Celebrities, influencers, women in your office, women online, women you graduated with. And even if nobody says it directly, there's this unspoken message floating around everywhere. Your body should be easier to control. And when women are constantly exposed to the same body type over and over and over again, our brains start treating it like the standard. That's one of the most important things to understand psychologically. Exposure shapes perception. The more we see something, the more normal it begins to feel. And media has always known this. Our brains are wired for social comparison. Psychologist Leon Festinger developed social comparison theory, which basically explains that humans naturally evaluate themselves by comparing themselves to others. And social media has put that process on steroids. Women are no longer comparing themselves to a few girls at school, celebrities in magazines, or women in their town. Now, you're comparing yourself to thousands of curated bodies every single day. Filtered bodies, edited bodies, medicated bodies, posed bodies, surgically altered bodies, bodies shown in perfect lighting, bodies strategically angled, bodies attached to validation, likes, attention, desirability, and status. And your nervous system, sis, absorbs all of that, whether you consciously realize it or not. Research also shows something called self objectification, where women begin viewing themselves from an outside observer's perspective instead of experiencing themselves internally. Meaning, instead of asking, how do I feel? Women begin asking themselves, how do I look while existing? And that changes everything. You stop living in your body and start performing your body. You become hyper aware of your stomach sitting down, your arms in photos, your face at certain angles, what you look like eating, what you look like beside other women. And it's not vanity, it's conditioning. And in a culture constantly rewarding thinness, it makes sense why so many women feel emotionally exhausted. Okay, sis, before we keep going, I want you to unclench that jaw, relax your shoulders, and take a slow breath in through your nose. Pause and exhale. Again, breathe in, pause, and out. Now, ask yourself, how much of my life have I spent trying to become more acceptable? Not healthier, not happier, not more peaceful, just more acceptable. Pause there for a second, sis. I think one of the hardest parts about body image is that women are often sold a fantasy that life begins after the body changes, after the weight loss, after the glow up, after the revenge body, after the transformation. And listen, sometimes changing your body does improve confidence, but confidence built only on appearance is fragile. Because if your worth and your value is dependent on maintaining a body, then your safety will always feel conditional. And that creates anxiety. Because then women, you start believing, I'll finally be lovable when. I'll finally wear the bikini when. I'll finally date when. I'll finally post photos when. Meanwhile, life is happening right now. Your body is not a waiting room for your worth. And honestly, some women finally become thin and still hate themselves because self hatred was never actually stored in the body, it was stored in those core beliefs. If you're struggling with comparison right now, I want you to understand something. Comparison thrives in environments where identity is weak. It's when you deeply know who you are, your body becomes only one part of you, not your entire value. But when that worth is unstable, appearance becomes the quickest thing to control. And that's why so many women obsess over calories, weight, beauty routines, procedures, perfection, because control can temporarily soothe insecurity. But healing asks a different question. What if I stop trying to earn my worth through appearance? And that doesn't mean never change your body, never pursue health, or never want to feel attractive. What it does mean is that your humanity has to come before your aesthetics. Your body is the vessel carrying you through your life, not a lifelong audition for acceptance. I think every woman should have autonomy over her body, period. But I also think women deserve spaces where they can question the pressure they're under without shame. Because if you've been feeling triggered lately, if you've been comparing yourself, if you've been wondering whether you need to shrink yourself to be enough, you're not weak for feeling that. You're responding to a culture that profits from female insecurity. But your healing cannot be built on chasing approval that constantly moves. Real self worth is deeper than trends, deeper than thinness, deeper than desirability. And maybe the most radical thing a woman can do in a world obsessed with shrinking her is fully exist. Take up space, sis. Thank you for being here with me today. If this episode resonated with you, share it with another woman who's been feeling the pressure to shrink herself, physically, emotionally, or mentally, just to feel worthy in this world. And if you want more conversations like this about healing, identity, self worth, and becoming the woman you truly are beneath all the pressure, come join me over at Instagram at She Is Society Official. Until next time, remember, you don't have to disappear to deserve love. And there's always power in the pause.